And WB to another episode of Building the Dream. Today I'm in test world and I want to work a little bit on figuring out one of the mechanics that I have planned for the Awoken map. When you transfer in between a dream and your hometown, I want to have two separate inventories for each of those locations. And so I already set up a plot here, saved and erased inventory, and I'm gonna spend a little bit of time working with commands, seeing if I can clear specific items out of your inventory and store them somewhere so that I can reload them later, and I'll see if what I can get working. Okay, here's gonna be the first test. So I'm gonna see what happens if you kill the player, and because all of their stuff goes flying everywhere, and if you capture that, then you'll be able to save their inventory easily. So I'm going to try to run this little bit of chain where it kills the nearest player, which will be me, and then it turns this on, which teleports every item. Ooh, I should set a radius for that. It teleports them to a specific location, or equals, let's do 10. And that will be right above these hopper minecarts, and there are a bunch of them. Ooh. Maybe this is already not working. Anyway, I put a block in that position and then a rail on it, and then I just spammed some hopper minecarts, and so hopefully they'll collect all the items that are dropped on top of them. And let's try turning this on right now and seeing if it grabs all of the items. So it looks like it stole them, and they went in here, but they're not depositing. Oh, yep, and then when it was no longer able to teleport any of the items in that area, then it ran this, it turned this off and activated this torch, which gave that text prompt, and then set block to concrete, which turned the machine itself off. So it should be able to work once, and that would mean that it's repeatable. So let's work on getting the actual items to transfer, because if they're not able to get inside of the chest, then I can't re-give the player those items very easily. See, I just put it on like that, but let's actually try first putting it like this. 5. So if I have them teleport one more block up, then it'll go right inside of these hopper minecarts, and it'll hopefully be grabbed by this. And why I didn't do that before is because the speed of a hopper is not the best. And if I have a whole inventory falling into these hopper minecarts, then I want them to be able to translate to here, this large chest, instantly. So let's try this again. So, interesting. It's not registering that while it's instantaneous until it isn't grabbed or something. So anyway, all of those transferred, but if we spam it, then what happens? Oh, I didn't actually drop anything. Game rule, keep inventory. Aha, false. So I'm gonna drop all of my stuff when I die. It goes everywhere, and it was transferred. Ooh, it looked like something dropped on the, oh. Yeah, some of them went onto the pressure plate. I should use a different one. So Did everything make it in there? Kind of. It still seems to be way slow. They're all trapped in here. How can I get it into this chest faster? So here's something at least. This is transferring 2 items at a time because I use the shulker box. You see how it opens? The hitbox actually moves. And I saw this from someone else's video where they were using it to move entities, and this turns out to work with minecarts, so you can push them in between 2 hoppers, and any items that you put in here move by 2s. But even then, that's still not fast enough. Wait a second. I didn't even know they added this. I've been gone for too long. So apparently you can replace items. What? Okay. Slot. Let's look at weapon. With anything. But how do I know which one? Oh, okay, so whichever ones I'm selecting is my weapon slot, and I can replace it. But how do I save an inventory? I need a way to detect something from a specific chest and place it into my inventory. At a specific place would be nice, but maybe if I put some cells in the spawn chunks, then the time won't actually matter too much. Because a single double chest should hold an entire player's inventory. And I think if I have a function that, like called save inventory, that kills the player, then teleports their items to a specific location in the spawn chunks, which all have some collectors there, then maybe I am able to save their inventory if I give them a tag then. And then their specific inventory is loaded back to them when they return to the dream world. So I was thinking about doing it like this, where I could teleport them to the spawn chunks and then kill them here, and then I could have some extra minecarts here, and then it would just save it in the minecarts and then slowly extract it. But I think that if I just put them in a cell, or even, I don't even have to do that. I can just kill them whenever and then teleport their items to something like a cell or a machine like this, where it'll collect all of their items and then it'll slowly drain them, and hopefully because that would introduce a bottleneck so that I couldn't have them jump in between the real world and the dream worlds instantly, because this would take that long. But it would also mean that hopefully it's very reliable. I'm going to see if I can implement that. Oh, 1 second. Oh. So apparently this command doesn't do them one at a time. I don't need to have this whole machine. So you see there's 2 different types of items, and there's 2 stacks, or they both have more than one. But if I type it in myself, it teleports all of them. So yeah, I only need to run it once, and I can chain it together with all the other commands. So yeah, I'm going to leave this. If I need to explain it, I'll again later, not now. So this works now. It's still kind of crude. I should probably refine it. So this chest is currently empty. The items get teleported to this one. I don't need that. So it's actually only these 3 commands. This one teleports me into this empty box. This one kills me, and it tests to make sure it only kills me, that I'm in this box. And so for multiplayer scenarios, I can do this multiple times and teleport them into different boxes so that it saves their inventory. But it kills me, and then because keep inventory is off, all of my stuff drops everywhere, but it immediately teleports all of the items in that area to this location right here. And so these hopper minecarts, which I can stack up as many as I want, they pick them up. I have a dual efficiency hopper to pull them out, and it deposits in a large chest. So I have some stuff, run that. Oh yeah, and that's another thing, you will lose all of your experience points, and I don't really like that, but I'll figure out if I need to change that. I'll have some ideas. Anyway, all the items came here at the same time, and they're being relayed into here, and so it effectively has my inventory. And then to re-give the player the inventory, this specific chest will be marked with a tag, and me, the player that got killed from that box, will be marked with a tag. And so when it teleports me back into the dream world, it's going to drop all of my items by copying, cloning over that chest, and then destroying the chest. And so all the stuff will pop everywhere, and it'll go into my inventory. And then this just fills that area with a chest. So you see it still has the stuff in it, but if I run this command, then it's all gone. So in that way, I'll be able to save an inventory, not the experience points, but everything else, all the items. And I can transfer it, and I can effectively have 2 inventories. And I didn't need this whole contraption. So yeah, I'm going to implement this a little bit so that I can actually export it into the Awoken map. But for now, we're going to move on to something else. Alright, before I move on, I just want to show you this finished product. So this supports up to 8 players in this map. With all the functionality, I guess I'll have to stick with that. It's a reasonable number, but that's just how many this lined up to be. So here's the machine. There's currently 9 hopper minecarts pushed into the middle of here. So that's 5 times 9 is 45, which is enough slots for all of the player inventory. And this is the current saved inventory. It's the one that the hoppers feed into. So I have here a couple of command blocks and a sign and another block of redstone. And when items get teleported to this location and picked up by these hopper minecarts, they get funneled into here, and it's not the quickest. So I title it saving. But when it's done, then this will be your complete inventory that you used to have before the swap. Then when you load, I'll go over that in a second. When this loads, it copies this inventory up to here and then clears this inventory. So this will be given a blank slate, and your current saved inventory will be up here. And then it saves your old inventory by killing you and then collecting your items and starting to funnel in here. But it still has your current saved inventory in this chest. And then it loads your inventory by cloning over these chests one at a time into that position and then breaking them so the items fall on the ground. and then it clears this one. Or it doesn't have to, but I did that for safety, because it'll just override it next time. Because then this is the inventory that you currently have, and this is your saved inventory, and so it swaps in between them. So I can demonstrate it. I'll explain this. This just makes sure that this only lasts for 1 tick. This runs swap inventory, which kills you, teleports your items over here. Wait, no, swap inventory clones this up to here. But then save inventory kills you and puts your items in your respective slot. This is all, I'm gonna clone this over so that it has all the 8 players on it. Then save inventory, it gets your items funneling into here so that your next swap will be viable. Then load in this function, it sets this block to redstone block so that it starts this wait. It continuously adds 1 to this scoreboard value, and then once it reaches 120, then it resets this loop by this is a safety latch. This is actually what happens when it reaches 120. That's what runs this, which turns this to face this way and run the rest of the linked commands. The first command, it runs reset while loop, which sets this back to this position. It sets this back to concrete block so that it's stopped. And this one resets the scoreboard value so that it always starts at 0. Then it loads inventory, which clones those into their position, breaks them so that you get the items, and then sets this to a redstone block, which does the same thing. It's the same machine as these couple, and then it says finish loading inventory, which it clears your inventory of 2 chests, because when it broke over here, then it gave you those 2 chests as well as all the items, and so I needed a way to clear that. Then after that, everything is done, except you're still in the pod and you need to continue on. So it tests a global variable called chapter to see where you are in the story. If you're on chapter 0, that means you just finished the electric desert, you just found the intersection, and you need to go to the town next. So if that is true, then it sets this chain command block to face up, and it runs this chain of commands. Otherwise, it continues on this way and does the same thing. This one tests for chapter 1, and if that's so, it sets this to up and it follows that. Otherwise, it says invalid chapter. So you can see on the right, my chapter is 1, which is effectively chapter 2 because I start counting at 0. But if I run this, then once it reaches 50, it ran the chapter 1. See down at the bottom, chapter 1 to 2. This one, if it had ran, resets that, and then it says 0 to 1. And it teleports you outside of the pod. This one says 1 to 2, teleports you outside of the pod. So I'm going to run this. It's going to swap this inventory with 32 blocks of redstone with this one, the block of redstone, the sign, the chain command block, and the normal command block. So it kills me, and then it gives me enough time to press that button, and so I'm waiting in this pod. Then it gives me the other inventory, and breaks. 1 second. Whoops, I hadn't reloaded the functions with the reload command. So this puts me in here, gives me enough time to press the respawn button, gives me the other inventory, and subtracts the 2 chests. So that is actually bad. So now in here, in the saved inventory, it's loading up the inventory that I dropped, which was a 32. And I'm going to go do it again. Respawn, enough time to say that. Then it should give me those 32 blocks of redstone and the 2 chests. And then it clears out the chests and teleports me from chapter 1 to 2. So yeah, I'm going to go show you some other stuff that I had already built, and then maybe I'll end the episode there. So I want to show you guys some stuff that I built in the electric desert. Over here at the temple, I completed a little bit more of this. There's some finished balconies and rooms. Oh yeah, there's a little viewing area there. And it's not entirely finished, but it's a little bit more than when I last showed. And I've just been building hallways and buildings randomly, basically. And it's all intricate and woven together, but there's no flavor added. And I mean, as I was building this, I was really thinking that the way it was turning out, I want it to feel like you could play a battle game here. It has vantage points, it has secret passageways all over the place, there's plenty of rooms to hide in or to sneak out from, and I think it's turned out pretty well. And I'm going to put something special down in the basement, because you notice that staircase, I'm going to have that the only staircase that goes down there. And to get to that staircase, you have to go basically up to the top. But I'm going to have, I guess I'll put the key up here where I'm flying. And then just some pretty cool stuff all over the place. Maybe I'll put the key up top, but then that actual piece down below. Yeah, I'll do that, because I can go into the next part that I built, which is inside the door. So in the bottom, in the basement of the temple, I will place the object, and this object is what you need to complete in order to progress with the map. So you come down this hallway, still haven't figured out what should go on the floor, and this is something that I built. Around this hallway is a lab, that's what I'm calling it, which is going to be the hub for all the other dream branches. And you come in here. Here, let me put on night vision. So it's just basically a prototype. I want to show that, hey, there's this lab, and these creatures, these beings that were huge, gigantic, really tall, they have been monitoring what's happening in that electric desert, but I'm not going to put them in here. This is going to be empty because it's still basically part of your dream state. So there's a little terrarium over here, put some piggies, and made a little environment. There's the computer on the desk, and up in about this location, I'm going to have a counter that's going to be, here, let's make this even a little taller because it's designed to be standing room. This is what's going to hold your method of proceeding through the chambers. They are going to be in order. That's part of the adventure part of the complete the monument. So there's going to be this counter, and there's going to be this machine in the middle of the counter, and the object that you get in the basement of the temple, you're going to fit it right in that machine where it's supposed to go, and then that's going to trigger the next scene, because when you get here, it's going to notify you that there is that item and make sure you have it, and then when you turn it in, it's going to clear your inventory and swap in between what is effectively an empty inventory. But that's when you're going to go to the town, and that's when you're going to essentially wake up. and you don't have any of your inventory from your dream state because now you're in the real world and you're awake. And so what you had before doesn't make sense to carry over, and so that's why I needed that. But then you will eventually return here, and so that's why I needed you to be able to swap back. And I'm just going to use the same function to swap inventories every single time, except the first time you will swap to an empty inventory. And I will probably want to have a if I don't want to have a location where you go to wake up or to go to sleep, then I will need the players to receive the tag. They'll need to receive this number tag when they start the map. So I will need to place I need to put a command block over here to teleport. But anyway, I'll need to place in the introduction the main spawn where you start the first time. I'll need to add to the command blocks to give the player that tag beforehand, so it swaps them into the right spot. It adds them the correct, what is that called, scoreboard value, and then that functionality should work. So yeah, I'm out of time. That's basically all I have for right now, but I will see you again later. Thanks for watching. Bye.